Welcome to the Pit Village podcast. Thanks a lot for joining in. Today, I want to talk about the attention economy. Now, do you own your own attention? Can you recognize the economy that we're in at the moment? And how can you utilize the attention economy both individually and for your business? So as always, we're sponsored by Prospect 27. It's pay monthly website as a service, £30 a month, get yourselves online. Now, I'm just reading this article, it's in 1997. It's called Attention Shoppers. The currency of the new economy won't be money, but attention. A radical theory of value. It was a radical theory. This was written in 1997. And it says, as is now obvious, the economies of industrial nations, and especially that of the US, has shifted dramatically. We've turned a corner towards an economy where an increasing number of workers are no longer involved directly in the production, transportation, and distribution of material goods, but instead earn their living managing or dealing with information in some form. Most call this the information economy. Now, bearing in mind this was written in 1997, fast forward to 2021, and data is the largest market in the world, over $1 trillion market worldwide. It says most call this an information economy. It says yet ours is not truly an information economy. By definition, economics is a study of how a society uses its scarce resources. And information is not scarce, especially on the net, where it is not only abundant but overflowing. We are drowning in information, yet constantly increasing our generation of it. And this is only true now when there's 500 hours worth of YouTube videos uploaded every minute, and millions of emails sent, and Facebook posts, WordPress blogs. The numbers are ridiculous and they change by the year, so look them up. But it's every minute there's 500 hours worth of YouTube videos uploaded, so just bear that in mind. It says we are now drowning in information, yet constantly increasing our generation of it. So the key question arises, is there something else that flows through a cyberspace, something that is scarce and desirable? There is. No one will put anything on the internet without the hope of obtaining some. It's called attention. And the economy of attention, not information, is a natural economy of cyberspace. This was written in 1997. Fast forward 24 years, and we are now in the fully-fledged attention economy. Attention has its own behaviour, its own dynamics, and its own consequences. An economy built on it will be different than the familiar material-based one, but it's possible. It lays it out in this article, and go and read it for yourselves if you want to. It's a great read. But it says an economy based on attention would actually be a very dynamic economy, simply because attention can come in many different forms. It is really scarce, and the total amount of attention per capita, which is per person, when we talk about per capita, that is what we can get per person, it's strictly limited. So we've only got so many hours in the day, and we've only got so much attention that we can focus. There's only so many things we can focus on. We can only focus on one thing in the moment, at every moment. So attention is truly scarce. And people do intrinsically want attention. Now, it talks about a lot of things here. Mainly that attention will replace money, that you shouldn't rely on a social security and basically a pension in order to survive at old age. You want attention, you want to have a community of people around you, essentially. It says the importance of stars will increase with a corresponding decline in power for those who insist on being anonymous. As the flow of attention becomes more important, so will cyberspace. A lessening role for large organisations because they can't focus or trade attention easily. Almost everyone will have a personal website, which is of course social media. To thrive in the coming century, you will have to look beyond money in any form and build a stock of attention for yourself as best you can. This will not be an easy current to swim in, but don't be distracted. The most gorgeous castles of capitalism, the most colourful ceremonies of payment and receivables, the most elaborate rituals around money and investments are now at their height, just as the era of the money economy expires. For better or worse, the attention economy will prevail. This is how it ends the article, which is, it's very interesting, isn't it, when you look at it at the moment, how our economies are literally at the knees. And of course, you look at the cyberspace, which is, you could say, cryptocurrency, which has boomed over the last 12 months. And of course, that's just through attention. The more attention the coin gets, the higher it's worth. Elon Musk does a tweet about a coin, it goes up 4,000% or whatever. The same with these NFTs, digital assets. I tried to explain them in the Business on the Blockchain episode a couple of days ago, but my brain is very small, so apologies that I couldn't get it out there and articulate it as best as one could. But the attention economy is something I'm very interested in. Coming from a marketing background, as he said in this article, attention can ground an economy because it is, we all have a burning desire for attention intrinsically, and it is unavoidably scarce. Now, he said it would be a very complex economy as attention can come in many different forms. And you better learn how to gather attention. This is what it's about. You need to know how you can gather attention and build a community of people around you in order to survive in the future. This is what it's going to be about. But we've also got an individual responsibility to ourselves, because we're 25 years into this economy now. We can see the effects of it, particularly with, if anybody's watched The Social Dilemma, if anybody's watched the documentary The Social Dilemma on Netflix, great documentary. I would recommend that one as well. Now, it starts with a quote. Nothing vast enters the life of mortals without a curse. And within this documentary, they talk about the flip side of the coin. And it interviews a guy called Tristan Harris, another one, Tim Kendall, and many others, including the Jared Lanier, the founding father of virtual reality. Very extremely intelligent guy. But these people, Tristan Harris was a global design engineer at Google and now runs a Center for Humane Technology. And they talk about the flip side of the coin. Now they say, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. This is what it's about on social media. Basically, they are competing for your attention. Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, Netflix, Reddit, LinkedIn, Google. And they say, let's get this person to spend as much time on this platform as possible. So again, they're competing for your attention. And one great description of the product of social media is the gradual, slight, imperceptible change in your own perception and behavior. That is the product. So they have got what every business has ever dreamed of, a guarantee. They sell certainty that when you give them money, they can provide a return on that investment. And to do that, they need to make great predictions. And in order to make great predictions, of course, they need a lot of data. So it's £1 trillion market, data. Now, everything that you do online has been tracked. As you scroll through Facebook and everything that you look at, how long you look at it, that is tracked. They know when you're lonely, when you're depressed, when you're looking at your ex-partners. They know if you're extroverted, introverted, what drives you, what makes you mad, what makes you stay on that platform for longer. And your data is not sold. They don't sell your data. They sell models that predict your behavior, keep you on their platform, and make you susceptible to buy things and show you the ads at the right time. So they know everything that you've ever done, every click you've ever made, every video you've ever watched, how long you watched it for. And they build more and more accurate models every single day as you continue to engage on their platforms. They made a good point where they said the meaning of our culture now is the manipulation of people. Because as we're posting on there, obviously we're trying to maintain our own social hierarchy in the fact that we're showing ourselves in a good light all the time. But also, it's manipulating us. The A/B testing in marketing is where you test one ad against another. At the same time, you simultaneously run two advertisements, and whichever performs the best, you utilise that one, build an improved advertisement from that one, and then run another two based on the one that was best. In social media, they do scientific A/B testing on a mass scale. They call it massive scale contagion experiment. So they show people subliminal cues and see what gets them hooked more on the platform, and then they improve the platform across the world and implement those changes to make everybody have the best. Basically, they've got behavioral scientists working on how to keep you on their platforms. And they know and understand that they're exploiting a vulnerability in the human psychology in his brains, and they're doing it anyway. This is what they openly say on this documentary. And one of the endpoints was that social media is now not a tool. Like, for instance, if you've got a tool, a spade, it doesn't compel you to use it at all times. You don't suddenly want to go out digging spontaneously. But with social media, your own psychology is used against you in the fact that social media has got its own agenda. It wants you on there at all times to keep your attention. They're fighting for your attention. And is this just, they call it the attention extraction model. You're most profitable for them when you're looking at their platform, because they can sell ads based on your attention. You are the product. The attention economy, this is where it's led us. This is where it's got us. We're 25 years into it now. And I think these people understood this. They probably read this article. They were very brainy, intelligent people who were building platforms on the internet in 2003, 2004, 2005. The early days of the internet. This was probably a really big article. This is a big thing. And your high-level marketers at the moment, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, these people who are doing really well with the personal brands and giving advice on this stuff. I mean, VaynerMedia works with some, that is a big guy. And he explains this a lot. The attention economy. Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather, celebrities, they understand this, whether consciously and they've studied it or their actions just sort of feed into this. But a lot of them study this, they know this. We're in the attention economy and we need to know this. This is the first point. You're going to ask, how does this benefit me? All you're talking about is a couple of documentaries. Fair dues, go and watch them. The Great Hack's a great one. Social Dilemma, of course. And look at this article. 1997, attention shoppers. Search Google. Check the article out. Outlining how the attention economy is going to prevail. And of course, it has. Here we are. How can you benefit from this? First off, you can recognize the reality and recognize that we are in the attention economy and think about, how can I utilize this for my betterment? I've got an individual responsibility to myself. This is what you should be saying. You've got an individual responsibility to yourself to know this, because they are trying to hack your dopamine and your brain, essentially, to get you on their platform. They're fighting for your attention. Think about how much time you spend on Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, all the social medias combined, and how they are fighting. They're competing for your attention, aren't they? Let's face it. So recognizing the reality will help you in your individual life, but also in your business, because then you can look at fundamental human behavior and how we are triggered and market your business on these platforms, because people's attention is always somewhere. You need to be looking at the trends and be on top of the latest trends and see where your audience is and how you connect with them on different platforms. So market to people on these platforms, because if you're running a business, you've got to reach people, and it's a great way to reach people. Like they've said, they built a guarantee. You can reach thousands and thousands of people and convert people to do business with you online on these platforms. So utilize it, and the best way to do that is look for the underpriced attention. Look for the underpriced attention online. Where is it? What is LinkedIn paid advertisement cheap at the moment? Because at some point you could get Google ads in 2005, 2006, very, very cheap. Again, Facebook were cheap until recently. And, what I'm trying to say is there is always a place where there is undervalued attention. So you've got to stay on top of the trends and do the research and think about your audience and think about niche, unique ways you can reach people and be creative in this space. And one thing I would say is that one of the laws and all this sort of stuff, when you're looking at courting attention, is that you should do it at all costs. You should do it at all costs. Just try and be great. For me, I want to build something that is sustainable and do it over time and have a little bit more slow growth. There's nothing worse than starting something, being controversial, getting a load of attention and then dying out. You want to build something so you've got a foundation, and then if one day something does happen and you get a little bit of popularity, for instance, I've got a podcast, if I have an episode that gets a lot of views, you've got a backlog, a catalogue then for people to go and check you out and really get to know you. So this is what it's about. It's about finding a balance between putting yourself out there, taking responsibility for yourself and your own mind, not letting these companies advertise to you and, influence your behavior, and realize that you are the product. Again, the product is a gradual, slight change in your perception and your behavior that you don't actually notice. It's gradual, it's over time. It happens day after day, just changing your perspective. The attention economy, it is very interesting. Check it out. I'll be thinking about this a lot more, and I hope this has given you something to think about as well. So thanks a lot for your time. As always, the Pit Village podcast was sponsored by Prospect27. It's pay monthly websites, £30 a month. Get yourselves online, prospect27.co.uk, and we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of the Marathon March. If you are looking to come on our podcast, get in touch. It's interviews at pitvillagepodcast.co.uk. All the best. See you tomorrow. Bye.